Most people think the guillotine was a stroke of singular genius. It wasn't. It was a committee project between a surgeon who was tired of bloodstains and a German who made musical instruments. Meet Antoine Louis, Secretary of the Academy of Surgeons, a man who looked at the traditional axe and saw a failed UI. It was slow, it was blunt, and frankly, it lacked synergy. To a surgeon, an axe is just a very heavy, very imprecise scalpel. Louis wanted consistency. He wanted a weighted blade dropped vertically, removing the human error of a drunk executioner. It wasn't about mercy, it was about industrial standards. But who builds a 14-foot vertical slicer? You don't call a hardware developer. Those didn't exist yet. You called Tobias Schmidt, a German immigrant who built harpsichords. Think about that. The man responsible for the precision of the French Revolution spent his mornings worrying about the tension of piano wire. Schmidt took Louis' sketches and treated the blade like a musical chord. He didn't see a neck, he saw a mechanical resistance to be resolved. Louis and Schmidt also had a lobbyist, Dr. Joseph-Ignace Guillotin. He didn't build the machine. He just marketed it as a humanitarian reform to end the messy class divide between the aristocratic sword and the commoner's noose. He famously promised the device would provide nothing more than a slight coolness on the neck. They tested it on sheep, then cows, then human cadavers. By 1792, the product was ready for its beta test. The user, Nicolas Jacques Pelletier, a thief. 3:30 in the afternoon. The machine was painted a festive red to match the inevitable spill. The crowd gathered not for justice, but for the show. They wanted the drama of the sword. They wanted the struggle. They wanted entertainment. The blade dropped. 882 joules of potential energy resolved in less than a second. Total silence. The crowd was furious. Imagine waiting 4 hours for a movie and having the credits roll in the first 30 seconds. They shouted for their wooden gallows. They missed the hacking. The blood was fine, but they wanted the suffering. The guillotine was a technical masterpiece, but it was a theatrical failure. It was too modern. Executioner Sanson reportedly looked at the result and said, "C'est fini, it is finished." And it was. No more hacking, no more take two, just industrial efficiency on repeat. Louis tried to name it after himself, Le Louisette, a branding nightmare. The public preferred Guillotine. It has a better cadence for a mob. The public loved the device but hated the doctor, permanently pinning his name to the frame. His family was so horrified by the brand association that, after failing to get the government to rename the machine, they were forced to rename themselves just to escape the shadow of their own relatives' mercy. Schmidt took his few hundred livres and went back to pianos. Louis went back to surgery. Neither realized they hadn't just built a tool, they'd built a routine. They built it for fairness. It became a factory for terror, and neither lived to see it retired. The curtain finally closed on June 17, 1939. That was the day of the last public guillotine execution in France. In the crowd that day was a 17-year-old English actor named Christopher Lee. He watched the last public adjustment in France and wrote about it in his memoirs. Even Count Dracula, it seems, needed to see how the professionals handled the business. Case closed. Stay curious, my friends, but most of all, stay gross.